The Full Melt Show is intended for a mature audience. It contains adult themes, adult content, and sometimes adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
Full Melt.
Good morning. I'm Steve Inskeep with a footnote on building a wall. Walls and fences already exist along much of the U.S.-Mexico border, and someone across from Douglas, Arizona found a way to defeat them. Mexican police discovered a van. It contained a 10-foot-long air cannon which could fling packages to the other side. An air cannon is a bit more sophisticated than the usual catapults, and the U.S. Border Patrol says a single cannon shot delivers 60 pounds of pot.
It's the Full Metal Show.
Are you high? What are you talking about?
This is the Full Melt.
Give me a break.
The Full Melt Show. A marijuana discussion about news, culture, politics, and lifestyle. FullMelt.com.
All right for that. The Mexican pot cannon. Can you believe they devised a device that even Donald Trump can't overcome with a wall? Hey, we're not importing Mexicans. We're importing Mexican weed. Oh, they found some car rigged with a pot cannon. 60 pounds at a time, kaploom, over the border. Oh, it's a lot less risky doing it that way, isn't it? It's a little easier to get the weed up over the Rio, if you know what I mean, if you got an air cannon. And, you know, that's got to be quite the contraption, that air cannon. I want to see photos. I'd like to see pictures of the 60-pound pot cannon. I mean, this is the same thing as loading a 60-pound cannonball into an air gun and firing it across the border. I only hope that no migratory birds were injured in the making of this import. It is another fine hump day in Michigan. Got all kinds of stuff going on. Let's see if we can figure out. I'm going to make a surprise call. Let me just try this. It's not a surprise call, but it is a surprise call. Let's just see if we can pull it up here. Do. La 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 la. Let's just see. I'm calling. Oh, looks like it's up. Hello, nothing there? Nobody? Nothing going on? All right, try it again. See if we can do this again. Will it work this time? No, the device is busy. It says 9. Not going to happen. Trying to call you back. We're on the air. There we go. So can you hear me? No? Yes? No?
Hey, what was that stuff? What was that stuff about Shishko?
Oh, well, we're on the air. You know this. I'm on the air.
Oh, then goodbye.
He chickened out that quick. Blam. Oh, boy. Opening up a can of worms there, aren't we? I don't know. He always wants to call me with a video call. Here you can see he's calling me on the video call with the headphones and the microphone I right here in front of me, or on me and in front of me, respectively, I guess. And he's out in the yard saying, "Hey, what's that stuff about so-and-so?" I'm like, wait a minute. Hey, you know we're on the air because I just texted you. Hey, we're on the air. I'm calling you back. And then he called. Oh, you're on the air? All right, bye then. Highly suggest to those people who know me, when it comes 7 o'clock, it's probably not a good idea unless you want to be on the air to call me on the air. It's almost as silly as a pot cannon. I mean, can you imagine being on the other side of the border, hearing a noise, and then having a 60-pound bale of weed hit your car? Isn't that a little bit dangerous there? Just saying there might be a... Now, maybe if you put the 60-pound bale of weed inside of some kind of, I don't know, 60 pounds coming down from the sky is 60 pounds coming down from the sky. It doesn't matter if it's cushioned with airbag or not. You make it like the Mars lunar lander, where it had to skip in and, bounce off some airbags and come to rest and topsy-turvy itself right. Had to right-side itself. A lot of stuff happened today. Amongst them, did you hear the breaking news? There is breaking news in Michigan. I'm not sure if it's something you could guess or if it's something that you couldn't guess. I'm suggesting, likely, because I'm not telling you what it is yet, that it's something you may be able to guess. Breaking news in Michigan. Also, a lot of stuff going on today in the pot world, amongst them this business about the feds. Did you see the federal government making their admission today? Big admission. Couple stories about this big admission. Also, it seems there was a decriminalization effort, a major one in the South that has passed. We'll talk about that. Poll numbers coming out in Colorado. Are Coloradoans happy with their new legal pot law? Yes or no? We'll find out what happened there. And then also, the Brangelina story takes a weedy turn. So that's what we'll be talking about on the show. If you want to chime in and participate, maybe you already know one of these stories already. Maybe we'll just pick it up from there. 248-278-8067. It's 248-278-8067. I'll just remind our listeners that the first person that calls that number will actually make the studio line ring. It will actually ring. It's hooked to a, telephone, a hard telephone, a wired telephone. It will ring. In advance of moving the studio, I just got to also remind regular listeners that our program studios are moving. They are going to be moving a little distance from here. And so as a result of that move and perhaps some delay in the building that it's going to, maybe off the air for about a week. That would not be good, but it might also be unavoidable. So if you hear us not on the air for a week, it's because we're moving the studio. And this is no regular podcast studio move. It's not a couple of microphones and a computer at all. There's a complete soundboard here. This is like a radio studio, indeed, right down to the telephone equipment. So we've got call screening station and, screening equipment, and there's a whole other computer in there. And then we've got the mirror of that in here so I can see which calls are on the air. And then we got all the equipment that's hooked to that. That's actually hooked to the phone lines and actually hooked to the soundboard. And then we got the soundboard itself. And then the computers and the microphones. There's an actual network here, a computer network that makes all this crap happen. And incidentally, it sounds like the test app is just about ready to fire up in stores. We've been testing it vigorously. I'll just see if we're still playing here on the test app. I'm going to open it up. It's closed right now. See if we're playing. Maybe it's closed. Oh. Here we are. It's going to be playing. What's it doing? It's got to be streaming.
Now.
Yep.
You're a computer network.
Yeah.
That makes all this crap happen.
So there we are.
Incidentally, it sounds like the test app is just about ready to fire up in stores.
So there you go. It's working. It's running. And it's not just our show. It's a whole bunch of other shows.
It's closed right now.
It's the Wax. Look for the Wax in your app store soon. That thing is on all legs a-churning. Finally, 3 years in the making, and it's about to go in the store. So we'll hopefully give you some downloadable news about that. Or news about when that could be downloaded. Maybe that makes a little more sense. What else is going on? Still no word on the Mad Blaster. I think I finally made contact with him. We'll find out if he's going to end up back in the studio or not, or what's going on with him, because, we got the big question with the Mad Blaster. Anything else that you want to bring to the table? Did I give you the number? I think I did. I'll just give it to you again in case memory fails. 248-278-8067. Yeah, that's right, because I told you the studio line would ring. And now the studio dog is going crazy. It's not the full moon anymore. The full moon is past. In fact, I saw the dark sky gobbling up the full moon last night, which means it's a waning moon. Waxing moon, waning moon, I'm not sure. And now I'm getting messages from the attorney. Literally stopping, taking time off to speak to the attorney on the phone. There, she just got the message. Oh, there's the thumbs up. No call, she says. All right, good Lord. Don't call me, just text me. That's what she's saying. Really? I only get a text? That's all I'm allowed is the text? The noise in the background is not a child? That noise that you hear, that little... Yeah. That noise? That's the studio dog. Oh, he looked up at me as soon as I said that. Yeah, it's a crazy day already. You see what I juggle every day? You got the news, you got the weed story, you got the patient caregiver thing, you got the breaking news, then you've got events, public calendar, and then also days in court and the studio dog. Not to mention, skirt tugs from the lawyer. So, go figure that out. We will see what happens, but I'm pretty sure that this studio is being moved and in quick order. In fact, I can't even guarantee that we will be on the air even as of Friday because we may be starting to disassemble the studio for that big move. And I'm just telling you, that is a sleeve roller. I mean, that is something that's going to take some elbow grease and some knee pads. There's a lot of stuff to move, and I don't even think we've begun to start. And it probably needs to be completed by the end of this weekend. So we'll see how that all goes. Ugh, I hate moving. Hate moving. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. The only bigger pet peeve I have than moving, you want to hear them? The pet peeves? There's two of them. There's two big pet peeves. Wet feet. I can't stand wet feet. If I got wet feet and I have to traverse anywhere outside the tub, can't stand the wet feet. And then shaken soda pop. If I buy a soda pop and I open that sucker up and I take a drink out of it and then somebody knocks it over or shakes it up, oh, that's my other big pet peeve. Other than that, not too many. All right, moving onward and upward. The big news, the reveals coming up. What happened with Brangelina? How did that take a weedward turn? The big divorce story takes a weedward turn. The big news story in Michigan. And what did the feds admit today? All that and more coming up next on the show.
You're getting the full melt.
Your pets aren't just animals, they're members of your family. That's why we are excitedly wagging our tail about our hemp-based product that caters specifically to your best friend. Hemp oil drops are great for aging as well as active dogs and cats, and really all kinds of pets. Hempwell drops are made from virgin, cold-pressed organic hemp oil. Our extraction process ensures the highest quality oil for your pet, with superior taste, smell, and nutrition. We hold ourselves to the highest standards, never using heat, chemicals, or preservatives in making our hemp oil products for pets. Pick up a bottle of Hempwell drops today at select retailers or online at hempwell.com. Hempwell. Hemp health for pets.
If you missed the last Full Melt show,
you missed a lot.
Yes, sir. We are just here to get you qualified, okay, for the lower interest rates.
This is a Visa card.
Okay. It's a Visa card, starts with 4, right?
So why do you need the numbers off the card?
I was going to let you know, what is your new interest rate going to be and what you qualified for, okay?
Well, wouldn't it be a security risk if I was to give my card number over the phone?
Sure, we are the one who sent you the billing statement every month.
Aren't you really just a liar? Aren't you just lying about this? Aren't you just trying to steal my credit card number? Oh, you are, you little piece of shit. You're a little fucking liar, aren't you? You're a little foreign piece of shit, aren't you? You're a little foreign fucking puke, aren't you?
That's what you are, fucking piece of shit.
Oh no, you get to suck my fucking American dick, you foreign piece of fucking shit. There you go. That's how you do that.
Imagine a world where patients can use marijuana like any other medicine. The Marijuana Patients Organization challenges the status quo by helping our neighbors to enjoy a better quality of life. Visit the MPO at marijuanapatients.org and enjoy informative articles, engaging debates, and information about treatments, doctors, and dispensaries in your area. Over 50,000 people have registered at marijuanapatients.org since 2010. Join us at the Marijuana Patients Organization today, marijuanapatients.org.
When you need legal help, you don't want to guess at who's standing next to you in court. And when it comes to a medical marijuana defense, it's even smarter to partner with a lawyer before you need one. Based in Royal Oak, David Rudoy has a proven history of not being afraid to take your case all the way to the Supreme Court and win. Find the law offices of Rudoy Law
at RudoyLaw.com.
RudoyLaw.com is a quick reference on your rights concerning Michigan medical marijuana
and up-to-date news.
That's RUDOI Law.com. Call 248-935-9074 now and talk about your legal needs, because at RudoyLaw.com, we don't just stand up for you, we stand up with you.
Wish your skin could bounce back like it used to? Neutrogena Hydro Boost Water Gel instantly quenches skin to keep it supple and hydrated day after day. With hydrating hyaluronic acid, which retains up to 1,000 times its weight in water. This refreshing water gel plumps skin cells with intense hydration and locks it in.
For supple, hydrated skin that bounces back.
Hydro Boost from Neutrogena. See what's possible.
It's the Full Melt Radio Show. All right, so the big story today, Governor Snyder signs the medical marijuana bills clarifying dispensaries and edibles. This according to MLive.com. Dateline Lansing. Governor Rick Snyder on Tuesday signed the bills legalizing and regulating medical marijuana, edibles, and dispensaries. This new law will help Michiganders of all ages and with varying medical conditions access safe products to relieve their suffering, Snyder said. We can finally implement a solid framework that gives patients a safe source from which to purchase and utilize medical marijuana. A voter-initiated law failed to address some issues that proved key in the law's implementation. Lawsuits ensued, leaving both dispensaries for medical marijuana and edible forms of the drug in gray legal areas. A trip of bills to legalize and regulate dispensaries as well as legalize edibles cleared the Senate earlier this month. That paved the way for final House approval and landed the bills on Snyder's desk. Snyder praised diligent work by the legislature on the bills in signing them Tuesday. Rep. Mike Calton, a Republican from Nashville, sponsored one of the bills. He said last week that the bills help medical marijuana patients. These bills are for the patients. They will help children with seizure disorders. They will help people with cancer maintain their quality of life, Calton said. And then they list the actual bills. Include the seed to sale tracking bill. So there's three of them, all public acts now. The Medical Marijuana Facilities Licensing Act, Bill 4210, now Public Act 282, amends the voter-initiated Michigan Medical Marijuana Act to allow for the manufacture and use of marijuana-infused products by qualified patients. So that's the only one that seems to have any, I don't know, to me, any merit. The last bill creates a Marijuana Tracking Act and seed-to-sale tracking system to track all medical marijuana. And, of course, that was nothing but a bone thrown to a big industry. There's no real need to seed-to-sale track marijuana. Do you grain-to-bottle track alcohol? Do you do that? Is that necessary? When the alcohol truck goes to the state distributor store and picks it up to deliver to the place where the people are that are, selling the alcohol, basically the alcohol store, the retail alcohol store, basically your convenience store. Are they equipped with armed guards in armored trucks? Are they picking up your cash and bringing it back to wherever they got to drop it off? I'd say the answer to that question anywhere in the States is no. None of that's happening anywhere but here in Michigan. That's how it's going to happen. So it's a little weird. It's a little strange. It's a little overkill. And it's also a great way for police to both have control over the medical marijuana situation, because that's who's going to be on that board. And also, at the other end, continue to steal people's crap and lock people up. And they got a new felony marijuana, charge to put on people now. They've got some extra teeth to go down and close down dispensaries. So they get to profit at both sides. They get to have control of the one end, to say who gets the licenses to grow. I mean, they're going to have control over that. And so they also get to continue to make hay out of the illegal end of marijuana and have some new tools to work with. So it's another day where we've created a bigger police state over a lot of nonsense, a lot of nothing. Nothing was wrong with what was going on. Look, Ann Arbor didn't cave in. Ypsilanti didn't cave in. Detroit actually got inflated by their marijuana buildings and structures being built, maintained, characterized as storefronts rather than run-down, empty, rat-laden buildings with leaky roofs and the copper stripped out. These people actually went and invested in them. So Detroit actually got a lift out of the marijuana industry. I'd say all these cities did, including Flint. Lansing got a huge lift out of this. Everybody wants to complain that there's a bunch of marijuana stores all around, but I don't hear them complaining about the empty buildings anymore. I don't hear them complaining about the unemployment rate anymore. When, it's a facepalm moment for the people in Michigan. Facepalm. Rub it hard, scratch your head, scratch your ass, do both at the same time, then facepalm again. That's what you got to do. So what else? The other, big stinger. I mean, you got all the people with the CPS. All right. Studio dog. Hey. What do you want? What are you after? What? I always do this to him. So the dog is wandering around aimlessly because I know he's got to do some kind of business, or he's just incredibly bored. One of the two. It's generally because he's got to do some business. But see, now whether he's got to do business or not, he's going to lie to me and tell me that he wants to do the OUTSIDE thing. Right? That's what's going on. What are you after? What do you want? Oh, see, now he's done it. So as soon as I tell him what he wants, he said, "What do you want?" And he's like, "Oh, I want to go outside." So he stands up on. Yeah, because he's standing up. You're going to have to hold on until the break because I'm tied to this. I'm tethered to this chair by microphone and cables. So back to your spot. Spot away. Spot. Hey, spot. Yeah, you can wait. All right. So the dog is going to love the move. Dog is going to love the move. It's going to be awesome. Let's see what else we got. Where was I at? Oh, yeah, the other big news. So the other big news that was related directly to, national news. Well, a couple stories. So let's start with the federal story, because that's the one I can probably tell in the amount of time we get to tell it in. What the feds did today was done through the Attorney General. And given that this Attorney General seems to have a stern view towards marijuana, it seems a little strange now that she doesn't want to be like the former Michelle Leonhart and make some kind of, was this yesterday? Oh, that's like a couple days ago. What the hell happened here? I'm actually missing the story I'm looking for. I wonder if it got into the where's the deleted stuff? Somehow the story got deleted. Is it in the trash? No, it's not there. Where did it go then? It was here a minute ago. Okay, I know where I can go to get it. Because I forwarded that. I forwarded it. So it's got to be in the sent mail. Good Lord. How does this happen like this? Like live on the air, the story just disappears in front of me. I had it up a second ago, and now it's completely gone. Like it's not even there anymore. So we got to go into here. I got to go like all over the place now just to find what I'm looking for. Sent. We're going to go into sent mail there. Wow, it's not even there? Oh, I know. That's because I'm looking in the wrong spot. Here we go. Aha. So the admission I told you was really on two fronts. NIDA and then the U.S. Attorney General. So let's uncover NIDA first, because NIDA works in concert with the Drug Enforcement Administration and the Food and Drug Administration, and now what is going to be I believe, as soon as Hillary takes over, because that's what's going to happen, there's going to be the Federal Bureau. What is it? No, what is it going to be? The firearms people, ATF. Tobacco, firearms, alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and marijuana. That's what it's going to be. ATFM. Alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and marijuana. That's going to be the new agency. So the story that's out of NIDA. Here we go. This is SeattlePI.com. Feds make important admission about marijuana and kids. Flying a bit under the radar in August, the Federal National Institute on Drug Abuse wrote an explainer to a significant longitudinal study involving young twins and marijuana, pointing out that marijuana did not cause a decrease in IQ. In the explainer titled Study Question Role for Marijuana in Teen Users IQ Decline, the agency wrote, in a recent study sponsored by NIDA and the National Institute of Mental Health, teens who used marijuana lost IQ points relative to their non-using peers. However, the drug appeared not to be the culprit. Oh! So there's a footnote. Instead, the culprit for the difference in IQ between the kids who used marijuana and kids who didn't was, you guessed it, their families and other environmental factors. Again, the agency writes, the researchers propose that marijuana users fell behind in IQ because they have experienced adverse familial influences that decrease their motivational experience and opportunity to learn and predispose them to engage in delinquency and deviant behaviors, including substance use. These negative attitudes and behaviors impede the normal accumulation of vocabulary and information, one researcher says. We suspected that children's delinquent proclivities and the family-level characteristics that underlie them drive IQ decline. For most of these young people, marijuana use is one deviant behavior among others, and their generally under-socialized behavior and delinquency rather than marijuana use affects their IQ trajectory. In an election year in which 9 states are deciding on full legalization or medical access, particularly in California, passage there would be the death knell for prohibition, the NIDA admission is crucial. Why? Because the number one argument made against legalization is, what about the children? Fear of legalization enticing kids to use pot who might otherwise escape reefer madness has not panned out anywhere, however. Not in lowering IQ. Not in causing more use, not in causing kids to drive high. Kids shouldn't do drugs except for medical reasons, and marijuana should be amongst the drugs kids can take to relieve conditions such as seizures, pain, nausea, and loss of appetite. Kids shouldn't smoke or drink booze either, but these tools of sin are legal for adults anyway. And while some argue that new legal drugs shouldn't be added to the mix, the recent study and many others show that marijuana does not harm kids by any measure, even close to the damage done by booze, cigarettes, and pain pills. Prohibition, however, has led to millions of arrests, leading to destabilization of families, loss of privileges, such as getting financial aid for college, and all the social and personal suffering that comes with a felony arrest for mere possession. It's high time to change the law of the land and end marijuana prohibition. And that's the story at SeattlePI.com. An admission from the federal government. And that would make 2 for the day. 2, I say. You don't believe me? Let me pull it out. Well, you should go just whip it out. This story, according to MaryJane.com. U.S. Attorney General admits marijuana is not a gateway drug. I'm going to just light my happy half cigarette for this. That's what I'm going to do. One of the most popular arguments against the legalization of marijuana is that pot is a gateway drug with the potential to turn the great American populace into a nation of dope fiends. But today, the country's leading law enforcement official denounced this common misconception by admitting that the consumption of marijuana does not lead to the use of harder drugs. As part of what President Obama has declared National Prescription Opioid and Heroin Epidemic Awareness Week, U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch appeared at a town hall meeting this morning in Richmond, Kentucky, to discuss the dangers of opioid abuse with a group of teens. In her opening statement, Lynch was adamant that the leading culprit between Kentucky's heroin epidemic was the use of prescription drugs. When you look at someone that, for example, has a heroin problem, it very often started with a prescription drug problem, something totally legal, she says. Something in every medicine cabinet, something you can prescribe to you in good faith by a doctor, Lynch said before taking questions from the audience. It did not take long before the discussion turned into this issue of marijuana. Tyler Crafton, a student at Madison Central High School, took the opportunity to ask Lynch whether she thought the recreational use of marijuana amongst high school kids would lead to opioid abuse. Shockingly, Lynch, who is the top dog at the U.S. Department of Justice, did provide the young man with a response straight out of the federal government's propaganda handbook. There's a lot of discussion about marijuana these days. Some kids are making it legal. Some states, rather, are making it legal. Some people are looking into medical uses for it. And I understand that it still is as common as almost anything, Lynch replied. When we talk about heroin addiction, we unusually, as we've mentioned, are talking about individuals that started out with a prescription drug problem, and then, because they need more and more, they turn to heroin. It isn't so much that marijuana is the step right before using prescription drugs or opioids. For a moment, it sounded as though the Attorney General was preparing to backtrack on her statement to some degree, adding that if you intend to experiment with a lot of things in life, you may be more inclined to experiment with drugs. But then Lynch followed up with what should be considered one of the most important statements of a federal official that has been made in 2016. And that's this. It's not as though we are seeing that marijuana is a specific gateway, she said. The Attorney General's admission that marijuana is not a gateway drug is fairly consistent with the National Institute on Drug Abuse, which finds the majority of people who use marijuana do not go on to use other harder substances. Yet many of marijuana's opposing forces are going up behind ballot measures in several states this election season by trying to convince the general public that legal weed will cause the opioid epidemic to spin further out of control. And that, my friends, is the big story of the day. We'll be right back with more about the Brangelina weed turn coming up next.
You're getting the full melt.
Your pets aren't just animals, they're members of your family. That's why we are excitedly wagging our tail about our hemp-based product that caters specifically to your best friend. Hemp oil drops are great for aging as well as active dogs and cats, and really all kinds of pets. Hemp well drops are made from virgin, cold-pressed organic hemp oil. Our extraction process ensures the highest quality oil for your pet, with superior taste, smell, and nutrition. We hold ourselves to the highest standards, never using heat, chemicals, or preservatives in making our hemp oil products for pets. Pick up a bottle of Hempwell drops today at select retailers or online at hempwell.com. Hempwell, hemp health for pets.
Attention. Get ready to write down a very important number.
Michael does not know how to fail. Second place is loser.
If you have a medical marijuana case and need legal representation, call the best, Attorney Michael Comorn.
He's very passionate in the courtroom.
Getting the best outcome requires quick legal action, and it needs to start with one call, toll-free to Attorney Michael Comorn. 800-656-3557. Write it down, 800-656-3557.
Michael Comorn gave us our life back.
Attorney Michael Comorn. Vigorous criminal defense.
Ram trucks are reaching new heights when it comes to capability and efficiency. The Ram Heavy Duty is the most capable full-size pickup on the road today. And the Ram 1500 is the most fuel-efficient full-size pickup ever. So what does that mean? It means Ram trucks are built for the long haul. Ram, America's longest-lasting pickups.
RootMetrics, in the nation's largest independent study, tested wireless performance across the country. Verizon won big with 153 state wins. AT&T got 38, Sprint got 2, and T-Mobile got 0. Verizon also won first in the U.S. for data, call, speed, and reliability. AT&T got text. Stuck on an average network? Join Verizon, and we'll cover your cost to switch.
Introducing Sacred Elements, a place for natural and alternative healing for the mind, body, and soul. Sacred Elements. It's one place, all solutions.
Registered, licensed, certified, ordained.
Sacred Elements.
Massage, hypnosis, Reiki.
Sacred Elements.
Raindrop, aroma and color therapy, body detox, ministry, life coaching, weight and nutrition counseling.
Sacred Elements. Next to the Sweet Leaf, 400 South Dorr Highway, Flint.
11 to 7 daily, closed Sunday.
Call 810-259-2570.
Play-Doh Compound can help kids practice communication skills. Start by presenting the visual of the letter or word. Then ask them to mold the Play-Doh compound into the shape of the letters. It's an effective way to foster speech and even writing.
Hey, it's Steve Green for the Sweet Leaf in Flint, because now getting safe access to medical cannabis patients in Flint, Michigan is never more welcoming. Presenting the Sweet Leaf, a brand new patient experience bringing 12 carefully selected caregivers housed in 9 separate offices to distinctly assist you with their knowledge and reputation for excellent patient care. Classes and training coming soon in the large community room. Check it out in person, 400 South Dorr Highway, or call 810-259-2571. The Sweet Leaf Center in Flint, 810-259-2571.
My name is Kubo.
When people say Kubo, they're talking about the best animated movie of the year.
Whoa, show off.
Kubo is captivating.
You got my attention.
Kubo is charming.
Don't even. Grumpy monkey.
Kubo is an unforgettable adventure that will delight fans of all ages.
Like me?
Yes! Oh boy.
Kubo, in theaters and Real D3D, rated PG.
It's the Full Melt radio show.
All my friends are heathens, take it slow. Wait for them to ask you who you know. Please don't make any sudden moves. You don't know the half of the abuse.
All right, the Brangelina story. Been waiting for it all day. When I posted that story, most people said the same thing I did, because the story came from CNN originally when I saw it hit the news yesterday. I was also on ABC News tonight saying that the big news there, the big news that ABC wanted to reveal that George Clooney chimed in. And you know what his chime in was? Because they teased it to the whole news. You know what the George Clooney chime in was on the Brangelina breakup? It's a family thing, and it's really sorry that that's happened. It's the first I heard about it. I mean, that was the chime in. That was the big news. That was the breaking news that ABC News had about this. That, however, is not seeming to be the reality of it all, according to another article I read today. And it has a marijuana turn. So now I got to go back to this crazy place because I lost that stupid thing. Hold on. Oh, wait a minute. Is it my Facebook? It might be just on the Facebook. It might be easy to get there. Because I did post the story as a Facebook story. And everybody said, oh, good Lord. It is. Here it is. Cleverly stitches together the weed breakup. It's all about the weed, is how I reposted this story from vulture.com. Came out this evening, about an hour before we went on the air. So as I'm speaking, I'm also having, discussions live in the text about forming a union of growers. A union is a great idea, and I think we're going to start looking at those options here in Michigan. What broke up Brangelina? According to the most prominent of the story's sources, it was not cheating that tore apart Hollywood's alpha couple, but marijuana. Specifically, Pitt's love of it, which allegedly created what Jolie considered an inappropriate environment for their children at the end of the day. If the rumors are true, this wouldn't be the first time Pitt's pot habit has made the news. Over the years, Pitt has discussed his lifelong battle with the demon weed, taking pains to distance himself from his youthful stoner image with unsuccessful results. Here's his timeline. September 10th, 1993. The film True Romance is released, featuring Pitt as Michael Rappaport's couch-dwelling roommate Floyd, whose life is spent watching cartoons through the haze of smoke. Despite Pitt's meager screen time, the role enters the stoner canon, not to be confused with the pot canon in Mexico, and becomes a key component of his star image. Why do you think his characters are always so hungry? The article asks. In August of 2009, stopping by Jimmy Kimmel Live, Quentin Tarantino reveals how he got Pitt to sign up for Inglourious Bastards. All it took was a visit to Pitt's home in France, where the pair discussed the script with the help of some herbal refreshments. We're popping rosé, and he's got his really cool Pink Floyd kind of rosé, the director recalls. We're knocking it back, and then a smoking apparatus of some sort found its way on the table. It was like a pop can, red with a little silver stripe. When Brad woke up the next day, he was like, ugh. He sees the smoking apparatus, and he starts counting the empty bottles of wine. It was 6. Tarantino later clarifies that Pitt doesn't smoke weed while he's on the set. In August of 2009, August 14th, he appears on Real Time with Bill Maher, where the host reminisces about the time that Pitt spent an entire party sitting on the floor rolling joints. You rolled these perfect joints, Maher says. The most perfect joint I've ever seen, like a machine. It was better than a cigarette. Pitt accepts the compliments with a chuckle, admitting, I'm an artist. Still, he swears he gave up marijuana when he had kids. I'm a dad now. You want to be alert. Then he goes on to show you in September of 2011, in an interview with Parade Magazine, he reveals how he spent a dark period in the late 90s wallowing in his own self-hatred, and also roomfuls of marijuana smoke. I started to get sick of myself sitting on a couch holding a joint, hiding out, he says. It started feeling pathetic. Pitt also raises the possibility that his unhappiness in his marriage to Jennifer Aniston contributed to the problem, a suggestion he quickly apologizes for. Then in January of 2012, during the Oscar campaign for Moneyball, Pitt sits down with THR to discuss his life, including more details of his late 90s stoner phase. I was hiding out from the celebrity thing. I was smoking way too much dope. I was sitting on the couch and just turning into a donut and really got irritated with myself. And he goes on to say that, fortunately, a trip to Morocco gave him a new respect for the depths of human suffering and knocked him out of the depressive phase. I just quit, he says. I stopped grass then. I pretty much, and decided to get off the couch. That pretty much is doing a lot of work. Then in December of 2012, Pitt joins John Legend, Russell Simmons, Danny Glover, and director Eugene Jarecki in a releasing of a joint statement, no pun intended, applauding President Obama's decision not to contest referenda legalizing recreational marijuana use. The president's statement reflects a saner and more sensible drug policy, they write, calling it a much-needed, quote, step away from the decades-long failed war on drugs, end quote. Then in May of 2013, in an Esquire magazine cover story, Pitt discusses the fact that he famously dropped out of college 2 credits shy of graduation, attributing it to his marijuana habit. All I had to do was write a paper, he says. What kind of guy is that? That guy scares me. The guy who always leaves a little on his plate. For a long time, I thought I did too much damage, drug damage. Still, he says, around the millennium, he made a conscious effort to clean up his act. I got burnt out and felt that I was wasting my opportunity, he explains. It was an epiphany, a decision not to squander my opportunities, a feeling of getting up, because otherwise, what's the point? The profile also contains an interesting quote from Andrew Dominic, who directed Pitt in the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford, about Pitt and Jolie's house. There's a breeze blowing through every window. As soon as you walk through the door, you feel stoned. So there you go. And then in April of 2015, National Esquire runs a story on drug-crazed Brad's twisted double life. The story inside does not live quite up to the hyperbole. According to the tabloid, Pitt has a secret man cave in his Airstream trailer, and a source says Brad will often head there with a buddy, a few joints, some beer, and a pack of cigarettes to wind down from the stresses of the day. The source also says that Jolie is furious about the habit. Here she is doing all she can to stay healthy while Brad is puffing his life away. And then, of course, just yesterday, Jolie files for divorce from Pitt. A TMZ source says the marriage ended because she was, quote, fed up with Pitt's weed habit, as well as his drinking, which combined with alleged anger issues created an unsafe environment for the couple's children. As Jolie's lawyer says, the filing was solely, quote, for the health of the family, end quote. So there you go. There's the big Vulture story. And I guess, they lived up to their name there, Vulture. I think it's funny that there's a magazine called Vulture. Nate Jones wrote that story. You can follow him on Twitter. So there you go with that. Now, what else? So you got the big two federal stories and then the big national story. You got the first federal story is marijuana, according to a National Institute on Drug Abuse study, does not affect a child's IQ. Use of marijuana, according to their test subjects, both who used pot and didn't use pot, this long-term study says, while there is an IQ difference, the IQ difference in the two groups is not related to the pot use. So that's the first story. Then the second story is marijuana is not a gateway drug. Now, do you see how the national slant on this is quickly changing course? Do you see it backtracking? I mean, Michelle Leonhardt got on in front of Congress famously and made an ass out of herself by trying to sidestep direct questions about whether or not marijuana was just as dangerous as heroin and why it should be in the same schedule. And she wanted to maintain that it was just as dangerous. She would not alter from that position. And now you got the new Attorney General who replaced her saying the opposite today, that marijuana is not a gateway drug and that, changing views on this subject, hint, hint, read between the lines, deserve another look at federal marijuana policy. And I can guarantee you, no matter who gets into office, even if it's Trump, even if Trump gets in there and hires Chris Christie as the Attorney General, they're not turning back Colorado and the upcoming California wave in this election cycle.
You're getting the full melt.
Promotional consideration provided by NoSmell.com, pioneering the storage market for cannabis users. The NoSmell patented bag technology offers users 100% smell-proof detection from even the most sophisticated of noses. NoSmell.com, so nobody knows. When placing your order for a No-Smell bag, make sure to use discount code FULLMELT and take 10% off the entire order. Learn more about No-Smell technology at NoSmell.com.
Don't stop chasing, wander while the day brings up. Here comes the sunrise and we'll see the sunset. Coasting by the ocean with some music, turn it up. We got the whole night, 360 days of this. All I'm talking wide, for memories will make you right. Always make you smile.
Happiness is calling at sandiego.org.
When you need legal help, you don't want to guess at who's standing next to you in court. And when it comes to a medical marijuana defense, it's even smarter to partner with a lawyer before you need one. Based in Royal Oak, David Rudoy has a proven history of not being afraid to take your case all the way to the Supreme Court and win. Find the law offices of Rudoy Law
at RudoyLaw.com.
RudoyLaw.com is a quick reference on your rights concerning Michigan medical marijuana
and up-to-date news.
That's RUDOI Law.com. Call 248-935-9074 now and talk about your legal needs, because at RudoyLaw.com, we don't just stand up for you, we stand up with you. Hey, it's Steve Green for the Sweet Leaf in Flint, because now getting safe access to medical cannabis patients in Flint, Michigan is never more welcoming. Presenting the Sweet Leaf, a brand new patient experience bringing 12 carefully selected caregivers housed in 9 separate offices to distinctly assist you with their knowledge and reputation for excellent patient care. Classes and training coming soon in the large community room. Check it out in person, 400 South Door Highway, or call 810-259-2571. The Sweet Leaf Center in Flint, 810-259-2571.
My moderate to severe chronic plaque psoriasis made a simple trip to the grocery store anything but simple. So I had an important conversation with my dermatologist about Humira. He explained that Humira works inside my body to target and help block a specific source of inflammation that contributes to my symptoms. In clinical trials, most adults taking Humira were clear or almost clear, and many saw 75% and even 90% clearance in just 4 months.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious, sometimes fatal infections and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Before treatment, get tested for TB. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB, hepatitis B, are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Ask about Humira, the #1 prescribed biologic by dermatologists. Clearer skin is possible.
It's the Full Melt Radio Show. I like the way that sounds. The Cannabis Growers and Processors Union. I think it's got to happen here in the state. Oh, boy. Usually, I reserve this last segment here for an opportunity to throw in something fun. This last segment of the program, when we come back on the air after the move, because it's going to come. That move is inevitable. Will start to contain a segment in this place for gaming. And when I say gaming, I'm talking about on-air gaming. So we've invented some games, and we got a strategy and some prizes to give away and stuff. And so we're going to have a way that people can enter and call up and compete for prizes on the air. And I think that'll be a kind of a fun thing. I feel really weird about doing the Joe Brown / Butters update now that I know that Butters isn't always just going to be a pet. The problem that I have with farm animals is that if you name them, they're pets. If you don't name them, then they're just livestock. So when you name livestock, to me, I can't cut into the thing that I was petting and calling a good thing and feeding out of my hand. That I can't do. There's something inside of me that says that that's just not right. Oh, you're a pet, you're a pet, you're a pet, you're a pet, you're dinner. I just can't do that. So if I'm going to have, if I lived on a farm and I had, a bunch of chickens, I wouldn't be giving them names. Same thing with the pigs. Same thing with any livestock. There would be no names. I'm not calling the cow Bessie unless she's going to be a family pet. Because I'm not cutting into Bessie off the grill. I'll cut into some livestock off the grill. Bessie doesn't make the cut, so to speak. That's all I'm saying. So I feel really strange about doing a Butters update because it was fun while it was going on, because I thought it was funny that, you've got a half-naked guy running around in the woods out near Grand Rapids somewhere. Well, distant from Grand Rapids, I'm assuming. And he's got some livestock and some cannabis and some, hemp growing. Fishing out of a river and living in a cabin that he built with natural supplies, amongst them all hemp. So I just thought it was amusing that he had this Butters, and we needed to do a Butters update from time to time because Butters is amusing. I think he was probably more amusing as a youthful Butters. Now that he's got horns and needs wrangling because he'll sneak up on you, that goat. But I feel weird talking to Joe. I got to tell Joe about it. Maybe I should just do it now. I feel weird talking about Butters on the air because he is eventually going to be dinner. And I'm not sure when that's supposed to happen. So there's something really freaking weird about that. So let me just see if we can get Joe. Just for a second, because we only got seconds left on the air anyways. See if we can get Joe Brown. I probably won't get him. Oh, yes, he won't. We can't get him on the internet because he's out there so far away. We can barely get him on the regular radio show. On the regular phone, rather. Joe. Let's see if we can get him here. We'll try and get Joe here on the phone. Just dial him up here. I've got him on the iPhone. It's not the studio phone. It's the iPhone. Joe is not expecting my call. We're going to get voicemail, I can tell already. Come on, Joe, one ringy dingy. No.
Hello, you've reached Bluegrass Natural Remedy.
Yeah, that's voicemail. All right, so I'll just tell Joe on the air. I feel weird about doing Butters updates when Butters is going to be buttered. That's all I can say about that. So what else is happening? Not much. We've reached the end of the show. We got a slight late start. Got to get the Mad Blaster back. Haven't heard from Rick Thompson lately. Really trying to get somebody from... I haven't even talked to Jamie Lowell lately. Jamie's been up fighting a traffic ticket. He got one of those transport tickets. It's like an open intox, open container transport violation. So in Michigan, according to the Medical Marijuana Act, if you're a licensed card holder, you shouldn't be subject to that law because it is indeed unconstitutional. And many judges have taken that position. The judge in Jamie's case, it doesn't seem, is likened to it. So Jamie has gone up north in Michigan, in the northern reaches of the state, to battle basically an open intox ticket. It's an improper transport ticket, which basically means his cannabis wasn't in the trunk. It must have been accessible in the cabin compartment or in some other way, reachable by the driver, being probably him. And so I'd like to get an update on that from him at some point because it doesn't seem exactly fair that, how are you supposed to take your medicine or have access to it if it's got to be locked in the trunk? What other medicine do you have to carry around locked up in the trunk? In fact, you don't even have to have alcohol locked up in the trunk. In fact, what happens if you've got a sealed container or package of cannabis from the dispensary? It's sealed. It's not in a baggie. It's not opened. It's just like you bought the liquor at the liquor store. You're allowed to buy the 12-pack at the Kroger's, put it in your car, and drive it home. It could be in the side seat there. As long as it's not broken into and the cans aren't opened, you're fine. And much would think you could apply of that reasoning to the improper transport thing. Not only that, the entire thing, as I said once before, is completely illegal. It's unconstitutional because the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act, indeed, is an amendment to the state's constitution and affords for certain protections. Amongst them, not being deprived of any right or privilege, and I would think that would include, amongst them, your freedom to traverse, to go around with your cannabis with you in any form, fashion, or function that you see manageable, including having it in your glove compartment or in your side compartment or in a container in the seat next to you. You can certainly drive that way with strong prescription medications. You go pick them up from the pharmacy. How else are you supposed to get them home? Carry them on horseback? Put them in the mail? No, you bring it home. Do you have to lock that in the trunk? No. What's to keep you from taking it and going down the road? Absolutely nothing. So why do we got to do this with marijuana? Absolutely have no good reason. I think that that's just another power grab by police, another special interest tool written to the law by Senator Rick Jones. Hey, we got to have this special transport bill. We don't have enough power to arrest the medical patients with their weed. And, we hate the weed people. It doesn't matter if they're sick. It doesn't matter if they're old. It doesn't matter if they're infirm. It doesn't matter if they're in chronic pain. It doesn't matter if they're completely diseased. We got to take their stuff. And we must stop them from consuming their cannabis at all costs. That's what we must do. It's holy nonsense, I tell you. I tell you it's nonsense. So that's it for the show. That's all I got. I'm spent for the day. Lucky I'm not spent for the week. We'll see you again tomorrow. Tomorrow being Thursday, we'll do at least one more show before the big move. Maybe if we're lucky, we can squeeze in a Friday. We'll have to play that one by ear. Until then, I'm Steve Green for The Full Melt Show.
The Full Melt Show is a production of TFM Media.